All right, hitting that go live button. Good afternoon, everyone. How are you doing? How's it going? I feel like this is a great way to socially connect with folks, even if we are not physically in proximity to each other, as is the recommendation from so many governmental associations telling us to stay away from each other, basically to make sure that we're not getting each other sick. So, thank you guys for tuning in today for yet another lunchtime live stream. I'm sure that the news is out there that Nathan's famous hot dog eating contest 2020 is on. So that was really what I wanted to talk about today. And I thought it was appropriate that I saw these red, white, and blue Oreos in the store celebrating America. America! Heck yeah! Filled with red, white, and blue cream. Oh, it looks like these are actually like Olympic themed. I don't know how easily you can see that, but here we got the Olympic rings on the backs of these Oreos. Looks like we've got a couple of different patterns on the backs of the Oreos. Team USA right there. So I'm gonna eat myself some Olympic Oreos, and I think it looks like that's the only two. Team USA and Olympic rings. So not quite 4th of July patriotic Oreos that I thought they might be, but still, pretty cool. And of course, it's always fun to just eat some Oreos, because they're always good. Now this weekend, I am planning on releasing my latest eating challenge, which was a giant pile of Oreos. But luckily that was shot like 3 weeks ago or something. Like, it has been so long since I've actually published a video. So I think I've gotten my taste for Oreos back a little bit. Oh, and they're just perfect. So that amazing creaminess with some chocolatey flavors, just like you'd expect from Oreos. Love them. Can hardly go wrong, especially when you're eating the colors of that Star-Spangled Banner. All right, well, I'm not going to belabor the point for too long, because we are just a couple of weeks away from the 4th of July, which I feel like most folks, even if you are not American, probably know that 4th of July, or July 4th, is an important date in America. It is a national holiday, Independence Day. It is supposedly the day that the Declaration of Independence was signed. I think that's a little bit off. I think the Declaration of Independence was actually signed, I think it was like ratified on the 4th or something like that. And the signing went on for a couple of days before they were able to get everyone signing. So like the actual date for the independence of America might actually be closer to like, I don't know, July 6th, something like that. A little bit of an interesting history going on there, but every year since 1916, Nathan's famous hot dog eating contest, at least I think it's every year, most years, I don't know, something along those lines. I know that in 1916, Nathan's famous hot dogs, or Nathan's Famous, I believe is the actual name of the company, have been putting on this hot dog eating contest around the 4th of July. It's this giant event. I think it's awesome that ESPN picked it up and started televising it. And I actually looked up some stats on this to see, this is just the Wikipedia page for Nathan's Famous Hot Dog Eating Contest. Back in 2003, I wonder if 2003 was, let's see, yeah, it looks like that was the first time that the contest was aired. In 2004, it was aired live, which is pretty awesome. And ever since then, it's been aired every single year on ESPN. And you can see the viewership. It looks like it peaked in 2011 with nearly 2 million viewers, live viewers, which is absolutely incredible. Like, it's absolutely mind-blowing that so many people tune in to see this ridiculous contest. Of course, The last several years, it's basically been like the Joey Chestnut show. It's like, let's see how many hot dogs Joey Chestnut will beat the second place finisher this year, you know? So there has been news that, of course, it's been up in the air, like nobody's known. And that includes the Major League Eating competitors. Like nobody has really known what's been going on in New York. Major League Eating is based in New York, right next to Coney Island, right next to Nathan's Famous, everything along those lines. So it's kind of perfect that those guys partnered up to make sure that the Nathan's Famous hot dog eating contest was just this amazing show every single year. So, a couple of days ago, some news came out of the let me see. Some news came out of the Major League Eating Twitter feed that says Coney is on. Nathan's famous hot dog eating contest will be happening in 2020, and they give a link to this article with some news about it. This is the Wall Street Journal, which is awfully filled with ads, so it's difficult to even see what the heck is going on. But yeah, I don't like the Wall Street Journal. It's behind paywall and stuff like that. So I didn't like that article. But if you are a subscriber to Wall Street Journal, maybe you can get the skinny straight from there. Let me see. So I did notice that the Major League Eating webpage, where they list all of their contests for the year earlier today, I checked it out this morning and it still wasn't listed. Oh, hey, look at that. Breaking news. So this was not here as of about 20 minutes ago, but looks like they do have a page for the 4th of July hot dog eating contest. So they do give some details about how it goes down. Unlike most of the other Coney Island or the other Major League Eating contests, you cannot sign up for this one. You need to be invited. Pardon me. Let me see here. So it says for this non-public event on Coney Island, one of the first major televised post-COVID competitive events will feature world champion Joey Chestnut and Mickey Sudo defending their titles. Nathan's Famous will conduct the 2020 4th of July International Hot Dog Eating Contest on Coney Island Saturday, July 4th, 2020. The annual contest, an American holiday tradition that traditionally has been held on the corner of Surf and Stillwell Avenues for generations. Is that true? I don't know. I'd have to do some research to find if that's true. I'm going to trust them on this. Let's see. It will take place at a private location with COVID-19 safety measures in place. It is one of the first major televised post-COVID competitive events to be held in the United States. And then I have a feeling the rest of this is basically talking about how the contest will go. Now, this did break with a couple of George Shea. I believe it was George Shea. Maybe it wasn't. But anyway, Major League Eating spoke with a couple of outlets about what the heck exactly is going to be happening this year. So we've got even more details of what's going to happen. This article was published yesterday on today.com, ironically. Anyway, it says every year, upwards of thousands of spectators gather to Coney Island, yada, yada, yada. Don't really care about most of this. For the first time, the popular event will be held inside of a large open warehouse-like space rather than an outdoor public location. Since contestants will be properly spaced out, the number of participants in each competition will be limited, with only 5 eaters on hand for each round as opposed to the typical 15 to 20. Let's see. Yeah, George Shea, chair of MLE, the company behind the crowd favorite competition, told Today Food that event organizers are taking extra precautions, which is good. It basically sounds like, yeah, so they've got this giant table, 30-foot table, Contestants will be seated at a 30-foot table separated by 6 feet, with the MC standing well away. Staff of the event will all wear masks, etc., etc. So yeah, it sounds like they're really just like going out of their way to make sure that everybody knows that even though the event is on, they're taking measures to make sure everybody's healthy, blah, blah, blah. Probably just trying to avoid anybody making a giant hullabaloo about this. There's some kind of interesting information about MLE, the eating contest in general, on this article, though. It says the annual event dates back to 1916, when Nathan's Handworker first opened its legendary restaurant, and has been airing on ESPN for the past 17 years. According to Wall Street Journal, Nathan's Famous typically sells up to 15,000 hot dogs on 4th of July thanks to the large crowds for the event. That's pretty amazing. Every year, event organizers donate 100,000 Nathan's Famous hot dogs to food banks for New York City. So I wonder if that's like an official food bank or something like that. This year's event will also help raise money and awareness for food banks, in addition to honoring essential workers in New York City. So obviously, it's not the big hullabaloo that it usually is. It's not going to be the giant spectacle that it usually is. And I feel like they probably made like the right tactical decision for this. You know, they recognize that there's not going to be the same huge crowd there. It's not going to be the same amazing spectacle that it usually is when you see it aired on ESPN. So it is going to be pared down. There's going to be much, much fewer participants for the contest itself. Now, they did say that there was 5 contestants per like heat of the competition. So I don't know if that's going to be 10 contestants overall, probably 5 women and 5 men on 2 separate contests. It'd be interesting to see if that's going to be how it happens. But I feel like they're kind of reining it in basically because they know that they're not going to be able to recoup the costs of putting it on this giant event. It's probably going to be a little bit lower key. Obviously, it's still aired on ESPN, so there's probably going to be a lot of viewers there. But like I said, you're not going to have the giant crowds to make it look awesome. So I think they did basically the right thing. Like it makes tactical sense from a business standpoint to make it a little bit of a cheaper event, because you know I just don't see them being able to recoup the cost of basically trying to put up and house 30 or 40 competitive eaters in New York City. Because like when I was invited back in last July, when I qualified for Nathan's Famous, for the Nathan's 4th of July, etc., eating contest, I was pretty pleased to see that they were offering to pay for a round trip flight for me, as well as a hotel for me to stay at. So like that is not a cheap expense if you're talking about doing that for 40 contestants all over the entire all over the entire country. Like it's pretty ridiculous. Now, like I said, this event is going to be pared down, just 5 contestants. Other than that, 5 or 10 contestants. That wasn't entirely clear. But the way that you get into Nathan's Famous hot dog eating contest on 4th of July, it's like the big one that everybody wants to do. But you need to qualify to even get invited to be part of this contest. Like I mentioned, other Major League Eating events, you can just go to majorleagueeating.com/contests and sign up. That's all you need to do. But for this one, you do need to go to a qualifying event. Those happen typically over the summer, after 4th of July, and then in the spring immediately before 4th of July. So last summer, they only held 2 qualifying events. Now, I was part of one, obviously, where I qualified and I was invited. But obviously this spring, like all events that included gatherings of people were canceled, right? So there was just no chance for anyone to, there's just no chance for anybody to qualify. So that's why they have very, very small crowds going into this one. With that being said, instead of just inviting the people who had already qualified, which I think it accounted for, just one man, one woman at these 2 qualifying events last year. That was myself and Brett Healy for the men, and for the ladies, it was Katie Prettyman and Sophia DeVita had qualified. Now, I know that Katie and Sophia have done the Nathan's Famous Hot Dog Eating Contest previously for 4th of July. I don't know about Brett, though. He might be a first. So Brett and I are both pretty new to MLE in general. And unfortunately, the way that they're doing it this year is instead of going with just those qualifiers and the people who are grandfathered in, of course, anybody who's won the 4th of July title in the past just gets invited outright. They don't need to requalify. So that means, Joey Chestnut, Matt Stoney, Mickey Sudo, Michelle Lesko, I believe, has also won it. I'd have to check that to see who else from the ladies. That is an awfully small field for this giant, huge, expensive contest. So they're just basically bringing in the popular guys. So that being said, I did get the email a couple of days ago cordially inviting me to participate in Nathan's Famous Hot Dog Eating Contest 2021. So I am not going to be there this year. I guess that's the big news. It looks like Frederic, thank you for the super chat, man. It says Oreos. Thanks for the educational live stream, Steve. Learned a bunch through your streams. Well, of course, man. It's always my pleasure. I love to spread the knowledge around. I know a lot of the stuff that I talk about is kind of a soft subject. Like, I feel like it's the kind of stuff that's, like you don't need to sit down and concentrate on it too hard. So that's basically what I try to do. So I appreciate that you like the live streams. I'm planning on keeping them up, and thank you for the generous donation. Thanks, man. AJ says, "Well, hot dog." Right on, dude. You got it exactly right. Man, these Oreos are thick. They're giant. They've got so much cream in them. Oh my goodness, they are super delicious, though. All right, so big news. I'm not going to be there. I'm not going to be in New York on 4th of July. I've heard from a couple of other folks that they're also not going to be there, so it'll be interesting to see who's invited. I do know that Mickey and Joey are obviously going to be there. They're the big names. They're the ones who have won. I think Mickey Sudo has won, 7 times in the past, something like that. Joey Chestnut is going on 12 victories. So it'll be interesting to see who shows up. I don't know. Maybe it's just going to be Joey and Matt Stoney going to be there, and that's going to be it for the dudes. It'll be interesting to see who's there. AJ says, bummer about the 4th, but now you have lots of time to practice. Yeah, that's basically the way I feel about it. Like, between school and between this crunch time to get this video game all out at work, I just haven't had any time to practice at all. So, like, when I got that email, I'm not ashamed to say that, like, more than a small part of me was kind of relieved to know that I wasn't going to be eating 3 dozen hot dogs on July 4th. Like, I'm taking it in stride. I know that the Major League Eating guys are kind of stuck between a rock and a hard place. Like, there isn't a good decision for them. Like, I don't know of a way that they could have handled this that would have made everyone happy, right? So it's an impossible situation for them. So they're doing their best. Don't begrudge them one bit for not flying me out to New York, basically, because like I think that for a round trip ticket to New York in normal times anyway, it's got to be like $800 or $1,000 for like a coach ticket. It's probably going to be a little bit cheaper nowadays, and then staying in a hotel in New York, that's like $300 a night for like a mediocre hotel. Like, it is so expensive to stay in New York. So you're talking like upwards of $1,200, $1,500 per contestant that's going to be there, and it's just not like I don't see them being able to recoup that money for putting up 20 or 40 eating contestants for this thing. So next year, I'm going to practice. I'm going to practice so much, and I'm going to come back next year with a vengeance. And maybe I'll have a master's degree by then. I don't know. Not that that'll be helping me in my eating contests, but I feel like maybe if I wasn't in school taking these ridiculous hard classes, then I'd have a little bit more time to actually spend. Um, where was I going? That actually spend practicing and getting better at eating contests. So one thing that I did see is that these guys do donate. We're gonna, yeah. Right now, I'm doing a segue to talk about charities. So one thing I did see on their Twitter feed and in a couple of these articles is that Major League Eating does support Feeding America. This is something that I mentioned. Was it yesterday? Yesterday, a couple of days ago? I don't know. So I did want to take a look at what Feeding America is, and I don't have any other charities lined up. So I think it's safe to say that I'm going to be donating to Feeding America today. So let's see what they're all about. Do we have like an about page or something like that? Our Work. Let's see if Our Work says it. Okay, so Feeding America is the nation's largest domestic hunger relief organization. Together with individuals, charities, and businesses and government, we can end hunger. At least in America, that's what it sounds like. Food today, food security tomorrow. Yeah, I think the biggest problem with food insecurity in America is not about the amount of food that America is producing. I believe America produces enough to feed every single one of its citizens, like 4,000 or 5,000 calories every single day. So like total amount of food, which basically that's how I feel like I can justify doing these eating contests and stuff in front of people, is like reducing the amount of food that is available in these really food-rich environments where I happen to live is not going to make a dent in food insecurity in other places. Like, it's not going to cause food insecurity. I'm not taking the food out of somebody else's mouth. Ooh, pardon me. So the real problem with food insecurity in America is basically that there are some areas in America that don't have access to places where they can purchase food. So it's like there's a limited access in some areas, and the food distribution in some areas is not even, basically. So yeah, these guys learn about our approach. Yes, I would love to learn about our approach. Let's see. Food rescue, saving food from going to waste. In America, we have enough food. Yeah, there we go. For every man, woman, and child. In fact, an estimated 25 to 40% of food grown and processed and transported in the U.S. will never be consumed. That is super unfortunate. So we work with manufacturers, distributors, retailers, and food service companies and farmers to gather food that goes to waste. Well, that's pretty cool. I like that. So they're just like making sure that there's less food getting thrown away. Food that nourishes, healthy, high in protein, and nutrient rich. Well, I think everybody knows how I feel about foods that are high in protein, but I do like this nutrient rich bit. So high in protein, whatever. Feed people rice, and it'll go just as far as feeding people meat. But having stuff that's high in nutrients is very very important. So giving people fresh fruits and vegetables, that kind of thing. So the long-term effects of hunger and nutrition can be devastating. That's why it's not enough to provide families with food. They need healthy variety of foods such as fresh fruits and vegetables, ta-da, whole grains, low-fat dairy, and lean proteins. Okay, well, I was with them up until the point where they said low-fat dairy and lean proteins. I 100% agree with everything before that. And low-fat dairy and lean protein, nothing wrong with them, but I think that you are not 100% required for it. Holy moly. It says we provide 4 billion meals to people facing hunger last year. Or we helped provide 4 billion meals to people facing hunger last year. That is absolutely incredible. Meals provided by American Outreach, estimated for 2016. Okay, so this is maybe a couple of years old, but I still get what they're talking about. Food safety, ensuring that families receive good, safe food. How much time do we have left on this? Okay, we've been going for about 25 minutes. I think we get the idea of what's going on here. So, oh, cool. Like, find a food bank where you can donate, take some action, gives you some ideas of what you can do to help out. Well, I know what I can do to help out. since I've got an absurd amount of money in my bank account. I shouldn't say that. Talk like I'm super rich or something. But anyway, I'm not poor. I'm not destitute. I think that's the important part. I'm going to go ahead and go through the motions this one last time to give these guys a little bit of money, because I think that that is a worthwhile cause. Okay, going through the steps, clicking through some buttons, etc., etc., doing some awesome stuff. Cool, there we go. Boom. Thank you for your gift. Your incredible act of generosity will have a profound effect on someone's life. In fact, your gift today will help us provide 500 meals to families in need. Oh my goodness. That is 10 cents per meal. Well, I guess if you can get nutritious food at 10 cents per meal, oh wow, that's pretty incredible. So there we go. That totals $500 of donations the last couple of weeks. For folks that may not remember, may not have heard exactly why I've been doing this, basically I came upon a little windfall when I was trading stocks on the stock market. Boeing stock, all airline stocks, like basically took a dive right when everybody decided they were not going to go anywhere. They were not going to, basically people have been living in their house, getting food delivered, not visiting anyone for the last several months. So all airline stocks just tanked. It sounds like Hertz Rental Car is, I bought a couple of shares of Hertz Rental Car recently because that has become like penny stock status. Their stock took a nosedive to where it's like worth about 10% of what it used to be worth, so almost nothing. So basically all travel stocks are just kaput. And then some great news came out that airlines were not going to be going bankrupt and going under and everything like that. So all of a sudden, that little speculation that I made paid off. So I made a couple of $100 on it. I think it was $1,200, about $1,200 on that speculation. And it did feel a little bit skeezy that I was like profiting off of the COVID-19 crisis. So I decided that instead of just like stuffing it in my pockets, going and buying myself a brand new pair of shoes or whatever, I'd do something nice for people and donate a little bit of that money. So yeah, that was in the last 2 weeks. I've donated $500 to various charities. Thank you guys for everybody who suggested charities that I should look at. I definitely did take a look at every single charity that people suggested. I was careful about deciding which ones that I felt would have the greatest impact. Weighed things between what were like evergreen charities versus those that were more important for the moment of what's going on today. And that wraps up that. So thank you guys for tuning in. Crazy news about what's going on with Nathan's famous hot dog eating contest. I, for one, am super glad that it's going to be happening this year. I'm going to be tuning in on ESPN to see just how much Joey Chestnut smashes it. I think it's basically going to be it. We'll see. Is Mickey Sudo going to be able to hit 35 hot dogs? Is Joey Chestnut going to be able to hit 75 hot dogs? That'll be the question. That's what's on everybody's mind. I don't know what's going to happen. It's going to be exciting. I'm a little bit bummed that I'm not going to be there, but like I said, I'm also kind of relieved. So I'm going to come back next year with a vengeance. I already got my invitation, so I know I'm going to be there. I'm going to be in form. I'm going to be practicing. I'm going to make sure that, like, even though I'm going to be a rookie, I'm going to make sure that I'm up there with the top contenders. So thank you guys for spending some time with me today. I appreciate it. I always appreciate everybody who spends time with me. And I'm still going to be logging in tomorrow. I don't know what I'm going to be talking about. Usual topic of the day. It's going to be Zen and the art of competitive eating, like always. So until tomorrow, thank you guys. Peace out. And you guys have a good one.